so used to. What a lovely sunny day today. Today's meeting is open to the public, and warm welcome to all of you who attended. My name is Councillor Sophia Said, and I am the chair for Local Area Committee. We are trailing a new way of delivering public meetings following feedback from residents. We are holding the democratic, I cannot say that word, formalities and agenda here in Town Hall. Before I ask other councillors to introduce themselves, I will hand over to Claire from the services to read out the housekeeping arrangement.
Thank you, Chair. Before we start, there are a few housekeeping arrangements to mention. Please can I request for everyone to switch electronic devices to silent mode so as to not disturb the conduct of the meeting. No fire test is planned for today. If there is an emergency evacuation, please take instruction from the council staff present at the assembly points at Tudor Square. I'm not going to go into where the ladies' toilet facilities are, because I think the ladies here present do know where they are. The gents is just outside this door. Turn right, turn left, and it's first door on your right. The meeting today is open to the public and will be streamed live and for subsequent broadcast via the Council's website. You should be aware that the Council's data controller under the Data Protection Act, data collected during the webcast will be retained in accordance with the Council's published policy. By entering the room, you are consenting to be filmed and for the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting. Any member of the public due to speak at the meeting who does not wish to be filmed should say so at the start of their speech. The Chair will suspend the permission to film their contribution. The webcast will only record the audio contribution. Members of the public are permitted to take photographs and to film or audio record the meeting in accordance with the protocol for webcasting, filming and recording of Sheffield City Council meetings. If anyone wishes to film or record this meeting, please make yourself known to us now. Thank you very much. That's back to you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Can I please ask the members and officers present to introduce themselves? Let me start with my right. Councillor Dunn.
Councillor Dunn. From Melbourne, Councillor for Firth Park Ward.
Mike Chaplin, Councillor for Southey Ward.
Talu Hussain, Councillor for Bangry Ward.
Mark Russell, Councillor for Shire Green and Brightside.
Abdul Qayyum, Councillor for Firth Park Ward.
Councillor Dawn Dale, Councillor for Shire Green and Brightside Ward.
Nikki Belfield, Councillor for Firth Park Ward.
I'm Sam Walstow from Democratic Services. I'm just observing today.
Good evening, I'm Lindsay Hill. I'm the North East Light Manager.
Thank you. Before we proceed with the agenda, I would like to explain how the meeting will work. First, we will deal with the formal businesses of apologies, declaration and minutes of the last meeting. We will then move into an item of the North East Local Area Committee Budget Report, which will be introduced by the Community Service Manager. There will be an opportunity for discussion, debate, and members of the committee will be asked to agree or note the recommendation on the report. Finally, we will have public questions and answers sessions. Item 2, apologies for absence. Over to Claire.
I haven't received any apologies for absence today, Chair.
Item number 3, exclusion of public and press. There are no items that require the exclusion of the public and press. Item number 4, declaration of interest. Do any members wish to declare an interest of any items of the business on the agenda? Go ahead, Michael Chaplin.
Yeah, it's in this paper on the budget. £300 was given to Pass and Cross Forum, and I'm a director on that of that charity.
Councillor Bell.
Thank you. Similarly, I'm a trustee at Pittsmore Adventure Playground and a board member at Longley Four Greens Community Centre, both of which receives various pieces of grant funding. But I should say that, as I'm sure it's the same case for Councillor Chaplin, I had absolutely no part in the decision-making around those grants. Thank you.
Councillor Vaughan.
Thank you, Chair. Best Start Communities Count organisation running toddler groups in Shire Green and Brightside area have been funded to run activities. They are linked to the organisation which I work for, but I don't have any pecuniary interest, and I was not involved in the decision making. I declared an interest prior to that decision being made. Thank you.
Talib Hussain.
I'm a member of Abbeyfield Park, Friends of Abbeyfield Park group.
And I declare interest of the young people of Reach Up Youth. I had no previous application, nor a decision making. No, I was involved in the project. Thank you. Any other voices or anybody I missed? Thank you. Item number 5, minutes of previous meeting. Members to approve and correct record the minutes of the last meeting held on the 20th of February 2025. Can we look at the minutes? Everybody approved of? Okay. We're going to go page by page. Page number 1, agenda item number 4, page number 1, page number 6, number 2. Any notes?
Sorry, Chair. Agenda item number 4 with declarations of interest. Minutes for agenda item number 5 on page 9.
Apologies. Page 9 of the agenda. Page 10. To record. Page 11. Is that all agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Item 6. North Local Area Committee Budget. Lindsay Hill will now give us an update of the North East Local Area Committee budget. Over to Lindsay.
Thank you, Chair. It's a separate paper, the budget report. I'm coming to ask to note a delegated spend and to agree proposals. If you look through the report, in section 1.2, it gives a breakdown of delegated spend since the last meeting, which was in February, and it's a total spend of 36,724. And then the second part of the report is it gives a breakdown of the overall year spend of the 24-25 budget, which is £102,212, which we spent to the dot, which was really hard to do, but we did it. And it gives a breakdown of that spend and what projects and grants we've given out with that money and what the money has been used for. And then to follow, in section 1.4, we've asking you to approve and agree continuing spend with some of the projects that we were delivering last year that have now gone into this year. They're still under the same priorities and the same themes that we have done for the last couple of years, and the projects are listed in that section as well, but they've just gone over into this year because we're still delivering those at the moment. We've not allocated anything else for 25-26 yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the North... Yes, go ahead, Councillor Belbin.
Thank you. Firstly, I just wanted to say a big thank you to the officers. I think it's a really great achievement to have spent the entire budget so closely to the actual budget, especially when you bear in mind that at the start of this financial year, we had lots of periods, sort of pre-election periods due to the general election and local elections that meant we couldn't be spending. So lots of thanks to the officers. But I also just wanted to give my thanks, and I'm sure other members as well, to the many, many community organisations in our area who are making the North East a better place to live. I think it's really fantastic when you look at the big list of organisations that have benefited from often really quite small grants, but they've produced some really, really brilliant results, I think, and that's around environmental projects, young people's projects, all kinds of different pieces of work, and especially all those who, it was really great to see all the list of organisations that had put on VE Day celebrations, and I know that they were really valued across the North East, so just take the opportunity to thank people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councillor Chaplin?
Thank you, Chair. I fully endorse every comment that Councillor Fran Belbin's just made. I just want to pick up on the on the 20 grants, fairly small grants, but they're all made to support the VE Day celebrations. And in the last few days, I've spoken to many, particularly elderly residents, who were either children at the time, because that the generation that actually fought in the Second World War has pretty much died, are all dead and no longer with us now. But heard many experiences from older people, and the stories passed down from their mums and dads as well. And I thought it was unfortunate that the Sheffield Star let a letter go through from someone living in Chesterfield who thought that Sheffield City Council had done nothing to support VE Day. And hopefully the editor will be a bit more on the ball next time, because it really has been of great value to a lot of communities all across the North East Lac area, taking in our 4 wards. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ruslin?
Thanks, Chair. Totally echo that. I went to 2 great VE Day events in Shire Green and Winkerbank. Played a new game that I've never played before, a version of Pin the Tail on the Donkey, that was made specifically for VE Day. And I know there were other events across the 4 wards that the LAC represents. So absolutely, I think there's a load of really, really impressive stuff here that I've tried to make as much of in the ward as possible over the last year. So yeah, echo the thanks. Just going forward, I think it'd be really good if we could look at a couple of areas of development. One is always seeking to push funding to develop groups themselves rather than to buy stuff. I think stuff is important, but I think developing groups, which then has that growing impact in the ward over many years, is really, really important. And I just wonder, and I think that this is not for a discussion for now, but for maybe a future meeting where we discuss among ourselves, if we could narrow down to some quite specific targets and priorities that we want to do over the next financial year, 25-26, so that we're having some real demonstrable impact. And I think, I speak for Dawn, particularly stuff in the area of children and young people in Shire Green and Brightside, because I think that's such an area that we need to be focusing on at all times of the year, but particularly those times of the year where there's less for people to do. So I think that'd be really useful. But thank you again for all of the work that's been done on it.
Thank you so much. Councillor Dale?
Thank you. Mark and I have had discussions about this, and I know I've spoken to the LAC team. I'd like to thank everyone in the ward, Shire Green and Brightside, and across the LAC area for the community groups and organisations for all of the work that they've done with very small amounts of funding from ourselves. But what I would like to mention is the amount of work that we do across the area with our children and young residents, and it doesn't really reflect in this report. We've got work that we did under Dark Nights that is actually put under crime and antisocial behaviour, and actually that criminalises our children and young people, and that I feel should be in where we've invested in young people around activities. But what this report doesn't allow is for us to be able to identify the added value and the work that officers do and members to support groups to bring in additional funding from other funders, so helping them write application forms to help them boost what they're doing, and also other council funding that comes into our area, because there was a significant amount of funding that came through from the youth service into the area, which is not in this report. And I think that really, at the end of the municipal year, we should be able to put a report together of everything that is actually being done in the area. This is a lot, but actually there's a vast amount more work that's gone on that I think we should be able to report back on as part of something. I don't know what that would look like, but yeah, I think if we could think about that for next municipal year, how we can filter that added value in, I think that would be really important. Thank you.
I'm just going to take Talib Hussain.
Thank you, Chair. I echo what other colleague has said, and I would like to thank all the groups who really work very hard in Banbury Ward. I would like to mention especially VN 313. They had a fantastic event to telling the stories about the South Asian community contribution. So it was really highlight in the event because the children who brought up here, they didn't know anything. So it was really good to know, the South Asian community's contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lindsay?
Yeah, I know I weren't able to put it in the report because for legalities it's around the actual £100,000 that we had for like money. But the other additional funding, just off the top of my head, was we had £10,000 towards the ERF, which is Economic Recovery Fund money. So they did another round of that money, and some of the applications weren't successful in our area. So we actually match funded some of that money with the 10,000 that were given over for that. We got £10,000 youth money over, which was from Community Youth Services, and that was used to make additional provision in our area, and we've always keen and substituted half, which has been a major priority for us as well in the area. We had Sheffield Safer Board, I think it's called, that provided the additional, I think it's £1,150 towards the Dark Nights provision. And we had a remaining budget that had been from a couple of years ago, which were fly tipping and graffiti of around 26,136, I think, but don't quote me, which went towards the environmental stewardship, which is helping young people work in our area and get work experience. So that's under the environmental stewardship programme money as well. And I think that was the most additional funding that we've had in bits of pots of money as well, just to explain what we've done.
Sorry, Nikki Belfin. Sorry about that.
That's all right, Chair, thank you. As other colleagues have said, the work of those people in the community who run and make sure a lot of these activities happen is outstanding. And a lot of the time, whether it's an allotment group, a sports club, a TARA, the individuals who make those things happen are, I like to describe them as forces of nature. We know that a lot of these activities wouldn't happen without them. So I'd like to thank them, but also just pick up on looking at some of the money that's going to be still continued for next year. You mentioned about the communications project, and one of the things these individuals often say to me is, we're doing all this work, but it's so hard to get the word out there. Particularly, as I know Councillor Dunn and others have frequently said, not everybody is online and it's really difficult to get to them. So just whether any thought is being given into what we can do next year to try and make our communication more effective.
Thank you so much. Can Lindsay come back to that, please?
Thank you. Yeah, it's always a real issue. We're a really, really small team as well, our officers, so trying to get the messages out there and communicate, and things move so fast in what we're delivering. All this work, it don't look a lot on paper, but it's massive in what we're doing in every day, as well as the other jobs that we have, which isn't just doing those projects, there's a load of other projects as well. So what we've talked about is loads of different ways that we'll be able to communicate around newsletters, we've been doing some door knocking, we've been doing lots of festivals and events, which seems to be a really good way to be able to engage. and then going round to the groups, which through some of the grant funding and some of the support, and take Councillor Rustin's point about the development and trying to get them some support, which is some of the smaller groups, is really quite intensive, but actually trying to get them to deliver those messages out around what we're doing. So this year, we've done kind of a bit of that last year, but we were limited resource in what we'd got. I think we've got a bit more of a grip and a bit more of an idea on this project for this year. So we've got a parks information project, which is around communication and around parks and about some of the information which can be notice boards, things like that. And then we've got a community communication project as well, which is about sharing information, events that are going off, what's got your local area, what information's available. We're going to develop booklets to give that's got like support and things and advice. And then there's the LAC itself and the projects and what we're delivering. Come a long way in 4 years, but we've still got a long way to go in trying to get the message out of what it actually is and what we're doing and how people can come and engage with us, so and what projects you've delivered. So yeah, we are on with it, but it's just a massive task and a bit harder than what it looks. Thank you.
Councillor Kayoum.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, just to echo comments made by colleagues around the room about the positive projects and obviously the volunteers that help to implement these projects and you know the activities that take place wouldn't happen without them. So yeah, just say thanks to all. Just going on from what Councillor Dale and Councillor Belfield have said about the specific projects, we know that some of these projects obviously wouldn't happen without the volunteers or the money that's given for them to happen. But they do make a massive difference, those individuals that participate in those projects. I'm just wondering, and we know that some of these individuals come from the very deprived communities in some of the most deprived areas, and it makes a huge difference to them. It might be a small amount of money that's shown on a piece of paper here, or just the name of the project, but the actual activity does make a lot of difference, whether they're children or elderly people or women's groups. And I'm just wondering, I don't want to be creating any more work for Lindsay and team, but I'm just wondering if at least some of them, we could perhaps capture some of that, some of the difference that it makes to people, and so that we've got it sort of, because they are live projects, and so we've got something on record, which which gives more satisfaction and perhaps more value to the work that's done and the money that's given, in terms of what kind of differences they do make to people. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Councillor Dunn, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I mean, Nikki mentioned before my biggest bugbear is that we're really good at communicating with the people who know how to reach us. And one of the things, I've been doing some work, which I know we're going to pick up in a couple of weeks' time, with how people access food. I think we can actually put information in with our food parcels. And that is one good way of accessing people, to tell them, because I met a few residents the other week, and just because people have difficulty accessing food doesn't mean they're not skilled and they don't have value to add, but it can be. So I think there's a way there of tapping in, helping build self-esteem, and kind of getting our reach further. So that's something that I think, from what I've heard today, I think it's something that we could do across the board. And that wouldn't particularly cost us much more money, would it? Yeah.
Anybody else want to say anything? No? Thank you. I guess my personal intake is that I've been working closely with the team, and obviously the trick is in the numbers of the officers. I completely agree with storytelling or capturing people's hardship or what they came over. That's very, very important. Equally, sometimes it's the community, as a community person as well. I always signpost people, signpost groups that are there. So I'm like, Jackie, there is people that are struggling to fill out this. Could you come and visit them? And she'll visit them on a Saturday or a Sunday or evenings to make sure that those application forms are being filled in and everything like that. We also have SOAR is in a position to always, because of the capacity, we partner up with SOAR that has got the ability and the capacity to develop groups. So they always develop groups. I know I signpost 4 groups that weren't constituted. They helped them to constitute. They helped them to open up their own bank accounts, and now they're thriving. And then that's when they can come back to LAC and really apply. The list that you're seeing, it took so much effort to, me, I could probably spend 100 grand in half an hour just on my hair product. But it's so hard to distribute that much money because you've got to do so much due diligence, applications, coming back, what can you do? And it's not given easily. It's sort of going through so much, like capturing the story in an application form, and then making sure that they understand what can be funded, what they can't be funded, how to, and then the training of the volunteers, explaining the DPSs, explaining everything. But the majority of here were supported by, we signposted them to SOAR when they got the small grant as well. So it is very important, obviously, for Lindsay and the team to capture all that story in here, making sure what partnership, and like Dondale said, youth money has been coming in the area. That needs to be captured as well, absolutely. But I just wanted to really take my hat off to the group who is, with the numbers that they've got, and sick leave and a lot of people were off, is that they managed to spend the money in a very positive way. And we're talking about winter packs and everything like that, but having that environment, putting the trolleys out for litter picking, that took a lot of effort, and ordered it, and things that are here. But again, we need to capture the blood pressure equipments that we put out for people's health, as well as my biggest one is I really like the appreciation tea. The fact that we're all working, but still the LAC officers are saying, we still appreciate you. And I've seen a lot of people from isolation, their isolated home, coming out and having that cup of tea and that cup of coffee, somebody's grandma that's been forgotten to be visited by, and a lot of cares as well, people in care. So that was really good. So I do take my really clap you guys, and we need to continue to do better and better. And what you said about food co-op, I mean, we set up a food co-op at Verdin, and that's really important. Accessibility to food is very important. But like I said, as you can see, the training, they've opened up first aid, mental health awareness. There's a lot of training out there for the community to sign up for. So yeah, just saying that this paperwork that you've seen is a lot of stories, and it took a lot of work. Yeah, Councillor Dale, come in.
Sorry, just to reiterate, I think what is really important, and I think we've all kind of said it, the numbers are important, but the impact is more important. And I don't think we capture the impact on individuals within these reports. And I don't know how we do that. And it's looking at the capturing and the lived experience of people, because this is the data, and we need the impact on that. So the blood pressure, anything really that we can capture over the next year would be really good. Thanks.
I was going to say, one of the things to maybe add as well, we've talked about this a lot, is maybe in the next informal engagement event, having it, telling the stories and telling what we've done and how we've done it. And we're not very good at that actually, are we? But there's loads of good stuff that we've had back from all the groups that are doing fantastic work out there. But all that information's come back to us. It's us getting that out there. So maybe, and we're looking at doing videos and interviewing people. We've got loads of ideas of what we're going to do. It's just 5 minutes to be able to actually do it. But maybe at one of the next informal engagement events, that's a really good idea to put the information out there as well that we could use as an opportunity.
I think Councillor Dole will enjoy this, but I think we could use the young people to capture these stories in terms of videos as well. Is there any Fran?
It was just quickly on that. I think, yeah, sometimes we're giving out quite small grants, and as you say, the organisations have to go, they're quite small organisations, they have to go through loads of due diligence, and then we're saying, and now can you complete this monitoring form as well? It's quite a lot of activity for people who are volunteers, and if we can find, I think it's using the engagement events to capture that feedback as well. It's not just telling the story of what our teams have done, but can we use them to engage people to capture their stories a little bit and find some creative ways to share that, I suppose. And again, I mean, I do think it's really valuable, actually. Having small pots of funding to do stuff is really useful for small groups as well. It's great, yes, to do the capacity building and so on. But I think some of the size of the grants that we're talking about, it's about providing food. It's about providing, you know, the craft activities and so on. I wouldn't want to move away completely from providing stuff, because that's really important to those groups, I think, to be able to make their achieve what they want to. Thanks.
Thank you, Fran. So if we could, members of the North East Area Committee are asked to note the expenditure under delegated powers against the 102,212 budget to address the local priorities in the North East Local Area Committee as detailed in the report. Agree the proposal for the expenditure of the 100 grand budget for 2025 to 2026 described in the report to address the local priorities in the local area committee. Is this noted and agreed by members? All agreed, please. Thank you. Item number 7, public questions and petition. We have received a question from Hanika Stevens, and we will get back to her in writing as she is not present today. Is that okay? Hey, Lindsay, is that okay? Thank you. Do I say this bit? Do I say this bit? I would now like to invite questions from the floor. When you ask the question, please clearly state your name and which area you're from into the microphone. If we are unable to answer any questions tonight, we will provide a written response, in which case you can please give us some contact details. Thank you for attending. Thank you, and go ahead if anyone has got any questions on the floor. Yes. We will give you a mic if you can just state your name and where you're from, please. Thank you.
Oh, it's on there. Hello. Hi, my name is Brian George. We got invited today by Claire Knott because we may be providing some services to you. So apologies if I've upstaged the question stage, but we don't really have a question. But as there's not many members of the public here, and if councillors would be okay with it, we could just explain in a couple of minutes what Percy Street Collective does and how we serve the other LACs and how we might be able to serve the communities that you support. I realise that's not really a question, so I'm at your service.
Were the members okay with that? If you could just take a couple of minutes to do that, that'd be great. Yeah.
So Percy Street Collective is based in workshops in Percy Street, in Neeps End. We support through the Adults with Disability Framework with the council, the young neurodivergent community. So our cohort is 18 to 30s, although we're now dealing with younger people. We have provided products and services to other LACs. So we've worked in Gleadless Valley and in Upperthorpe and all sorts of places. So I just wanted to say that the funding that you provide to the organisations around your area, your wards, where you're providing support for community groups that say look after spaces and gardens and that sort of thing. So I heard what people said earlier about you don't just want to fund making stuff, but that's what we do. We make stuff, and that's and we make stuff when we encourage young people to acquire skills and we get them into work where possible, and we have had some success in that. And we have at least one member of our community participants through the framework who actually now is a director of the company recently, so we're run by the people that we serve, hopefully, aside from me and Rod to my left here. So really, to cut it short, where you provide funding to a community group to say, provide some things in their space, if that funding is then in turn directed towards us, and our young people make things from that same funding, you're kind of getting a double benefit. And that, I think, comes out in the kind of impact assessment work. So I think we're going to talk to Jax later because Claire's not here. So really that's all I wanted to say. If that same funding gets, this is a bit of a pitch, I know, so apologies for that, but we're doing it for the young people we support. We're a not-for-profit company. So that same funding getting channeled through a service like us, where you're funding them to make things, but we make them, then the young people that you're directing towards us through the Adults with Disability framework gets a kind of double spend. Thank you. That's my pitch.
Thank you. Good pitch. Yeah, Councillor Dale?
Thank you, Chair. I think there might be a bit of a misconception when we speak about not funding stuff. I think it's tables and chairs and stuff like that. I think that what you're talking about is actually project work, and that's what should be funded. And it's about the craft stuff, it's project work, and it's the impact on people. What we generally have found historically is we're looking at tables, tea towels, teaspoons and chairs, and I know those things are really important, the capital stuff is really important, but actually it's that crafting, it's that project work, it's that building self-esteem and confidence work that is absolutely what we want to fund, even if it is just a few £100. We do recognise it has a huge impact. So I wouldn't want anyone going away today thinking we don't want to fund stuff, because arts and crafts equipment is stuff, but it's the project work which is vital for people in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, my name's Mark Harrop. I'm speaking, obviously I'm a resident at Sheffield.
Can you just make it specifically what area you're from, if that's okay?
Booterbridge.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've had somebody get in touch with me from Winkerbank area, and I believe they've spoken to Councillor Dale, and it's about issues they've got opposite Brightside Garage. There's a number of vehicles on that road that are clogging up the street. The residents are, you know, quite fed up of it. A lot of the vehicles are not correctly registered to the make and model of the vehicles, and this was reported a year ago. They're not seeing any improvement in that area, and there's a lot of materials from the garage, buckets, oil on the road junctions, and they've got a load of evidence together of photographs and information. And I weren't planning to say this, but obviously I've seen that the respective councillor is here, so I just thought I'd ask that question, because they're asking me for if I can get any answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So I am in contact with, and so are the police are in contact with some of the residents in that area. I can give a update, but not a full update, because there are legal proceedings in process at the moment. So we have met about a fortnight ago again in Grimesthorpe at Grimesthorpe Family Centre with local residents, with officers from the council, and had a full update from the team. So the people that are currently involved at the moment are South Yorkshire Fire and Rescue, South Yorkshire Police, Health and Safety Executive, the Home Office. What I can say is that the person in question at the business in question has been fined via court order, and we are now looking at, I think he's had about £30,000 worth of fines over this last 12 months. We're now looking at next steps with regards to legal proceedings. It is very, very complicated. I feel, and like local residents, I feel their frustration. It's been going on for longer than 12 months actually. I mean, I've been meeting with local residents for a very long time on this. What I would like to do is reassure residents that we are working on it, but we have to go through the proper legal channels. You know, in an ideal world, we would turn up, we would remove the vehicles, but then the next morning there'd be more vehicles, and you know, so we've worked on looking at abandoned vehicles. We have to prove that they're abandoned vehicles, which takes time, because if we remove them, we can then get in trouble for stealing the vehicles. So it's very, very complicated, but I do meet regularly at Grimesthorpe Family Centre on a Wednesday at 10 o'clock, once a month or once every 6 to 8 weeks. Anytime anybody wants me to come, I'll come, but I do check in regularly with the residents in that area. So, and generally word gets out when I'm coming. So, and officers attend with me to give local residents an update. You know, I do apologise that this is taking so long, but we have got legal teams involved in this, and other services, and we're just going through that system at the moment. It is extremely frustrating for us as elected members, more obviously frustrating for local residents having to live under those conditions. But I wouldn't want anyone to think we're not doing anything about it. It is just so complicated. So, yeah. But I'm happy to speak to you afterwards as well, if that's all right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. What would be helpful is, you know, if somebody, like, because you've got limited resource as well, so anyone that is emailed Councillor Dale and is not getting any response, to advise them to come to the public meeting, like yourself, like you're here for them. It's better that they come directly, or maybe the other non-formal one that's public meeting, or any of the appreciation ones. That'll be really good for them to get that extra reassurance. Thank you. Go ahead, Dale.
Thank you, Chair. Just on that then, I do, the emails that I get quite a lot of them. So it's general, and some of the answers are really quite technical for me to give. So what some of our officers will respond with the technical answers with regards to the processes and where we're at with it. It's easy enough for me to just say we're doing something about it, but residents want to know what we're doing about it. So if you have got anyone's name in particular that you want to pass me afterwards, I can go through my emails and ensure that they're on that email list. So we've got an email list that we update local residents on the next steps and what's happening. Thank you.
Any more comments, questions? Okay, I'd like to say thank you for attending the meeting tonight. The next meeting of the North East Local Area Committee will be on a date and time to be arranged, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. I might have made loads of mistakes as a chair, but I really enjoyed my ride here, and it's my last meeting, so hopefully another musical chairs, but hopefully you'll get a better chair, and I'll go back being a table. So yes, no offense. But yeah, I had fun brilliantly. Thank you so much to the team. It was brilliant working with you. Thank you. Have a really good rest of the evening. Thank you.